welcome to the grand opening of the Bay Area Water Treatment Plant. It's an honor and a privilege to serve as the Director of the Department of Water and Sewer and represent the Department of Water and Sewer and the road commissioners here today at this grand opening. Nearly 3 years ago, we stood at this location with shovels in hand for a groundbreaking of the state-of-the-art Bay Area Water Treatment Plant that's here behind us today. Today we gather to celebrate and realize what was started with discussions and a vision over a decade ago. The vision was and remains delivering safe, high-quality drinking water daily to the nearly 100,000 customers served by this plant. It's a vision that was pursued early on by Ken Miller and his staff and the road commissioners and the support of many, many local officials, many of which are here today, and we're happy to have you be able to join us. Delivering safe, high-quality water is the #1 goal of the operators and supervisors at this facility and the public water supply systems that distribute water throughout Bay County. As I stated at the groundbreaking, we're here today for this grand opening solely by the unprecedented cooperation of local government units in this community. No new units of government or layers of government were created for this plant. Instead, a successful Bay Area model agreement was achieved whereby it was determined how best to construct, finance, and operate the new Bay Area Water Treatment Plant within the current government structures within Bay County. Truly, this is a partnership that is unprecedented in the Bay Area and that we can build on. As you will observe when you tour the plant, the new Bay Area Water Treatment Plant is a state-of-the-art membrane water treatment plant that, when coupled with the raw water supply from the Saginaw Midland Water Supply Corporation, the premier raw water source in this region, delivers an awesome water to our customers. There's a new awareness in Michigan and the country that has underscored the critical importance of high-quality public water supply to the public health of the community. And I truly believe that this facility places the Bay Area community in a great position with high-quality public water supply for many years to come. This plant delivers high-quality water. And the entire region really benefits by tapping into the premier raw water source in the region, the Saginaw Midland Municipal Water Supply Corporation. It was constructed in the 1940s to supply raw water to the cities of Midland and Saginaw, and now the Bay Area plant. From Lake Huron at Whitestone Point is where the source water comes from. Our connection for this plant is about 2 miles west of here down Laurier Road, so that's where we tap into the Saginaw Midland line. I want to recognize Saginaw Midland. Unfortunately, my timing on setting this event, they have a board meeting at 10 o'clock this morning. So we missed one. They may have to come at another time and see the plant, but that system is just a tremendous asset to this community in this region. Mike Quinnell and their board have been great to work with, and we're great to work with throughout this process. So I can't thank them enough for where we're at today. I didn't see Paul Reinch here today. Paul Reinch was very supportive through the process of construction of this plant. Paul is a Bay County native, but is the Director of Water Treatment Division in the city of Saginaw. And then Peter Schwartz is here today, able to join us, and Peter is the water plant manager of the city of Midland. And Peter's been supportive through this process too. We appreciate it. I think we've got a good working relationship with the local water plants here now. So with that, we got to keep it short. The sun's bright, right? Okay, and it's hot, so we'll keep it short. Just want to point out a few things in the program. If you don't have a program, we have more available. Jen has them in the back here. The facility is a 17.4 million gallon per day water filtration plant. That was based off the needs of the community and the projection for the next 30 years for this community. However, it's expandable to 22 million gallons a day if Ryan and Trevor and Bay Future and Mark Linton bring in more jobs around here and bring in more industry. We're set for that expansion in the area if we need to. The project was financed by the Bay County Board of Commissioners. The full faith and credit of the county was pledged for this project. Project cost of $59.9 million. Of that, $7.46 million is principal forgiveness. State calls it principal forgiveness. You and I would call it a grant. It's money we don't have to pay back of that $59.9 million. The facility is operated by the Bay County Department of Water and Sewer. And in Bay County, we're a department of the Bay County Road Commission. And while the bonds are outstanding, Bay County has title or owns the facility, but when the bonds are paid off, then the facility transfers in proportion to the 14 partners to the facility. On the back of the program, you'll note the contractors that constructed the facility. Spence Brothers was the general contractor for the water treatment plant, and I know Herb is here today with Spence Brothers. Thank you, Herb. It's interesting, with Herb, a local contractor, we were glad to have Spence and a local contractor construct this. About 69% of the labor through Spence Brothers was local labor. That's people in our community that built this plant. Chad Dean, the foreman, lives in the community also, so that was nice. The folks cared what they were building. Raw water transmission mains were constructed by Dan's Excavating. That was the twin 30-inch mains down Laurie Road to connect into the Saginaw Midland system. And then design and engineering services were by CDM Smith, with assistance from Road Professional Services and G2 Consulting. And with CDM Smith, we have Mark Tenbrook here today, and Dwayne Dedeen, who was the on-site RPR, Resident Project Representative, during the project. On the front of the program, you'll note the folks from the Department of Water and Sewer here in the Road Commission. And the Road Commissioners wanted to keep the meeting moving, so they're not going to speak today, but I want to recognize them and just the tremendous support that we've had from the project from them, from this. So Dick Gromowski is chairman of the Road Commission. Ed Rivets, vice chairman. And Mike Rivard, the commissioner. Very supportive through this project too is Jim Lillo, who's in the back as the engineer manager for the Road Commission. Very supportive of this project. Also key to this project is Jim Martyr, who was accounting manager, ran a lot of the numbers now, and now is the assistant director. And Jim was key to this project. He's in the back also. And I don't have her listed here, but Cheryl Fechter keeps me out of trouble most of the time. So Cheryl is key in this too, and we really appreciate what she's done with this project. And then finally, the guy that started this plant up, and with him and his staff, make it purr and put out good water, put out the awesome water we have. And that's Mark Moores, who is in the back, and we're very fortunate to have Mark on board. So with that, we'll get into the program. We had two guests that couldn't make it today that have previous commitments, but I want to recognize them. And Jake Bennett is here from Congressman Dan Kilde's office. And Jake, thank you for joining us. I know Congressman Kilde is very interested in this facility, and he was here in March for a tour of the facility and was very impressed with it. He was here when I was in spring training, but he got a good tour from Mark and his crew, and duly impressed with this facility and how it's going to serve this community. Also, Senator Mike Green was unable to attend today, and Jim McCloskey, the district rep, is here representing Senator Green. Thank you, Jim, and we appreciate the best wishes from Senator Green. Okay. And with that, we'll get into the program. First speaker today, we'd like to have a few comments from our state representative, Charlie Brunner, from the 96th District. Charlie.
Well, thank you, Tom, and what a great day. I was out here, I believe, last winter and toured the facility when it was Tom took me through. It was partially finished. And Herb, I don't know how you even know where to start with all those pipes, but I guess that's your specialty. And thank you for doing that. And it just amazes me when you put it together and it doesn't leak and we get the water that we do. So thank you, Herb, and all the folks involved in the construction. And I hesitate to thank people because everybody here deserves a thank you. But a little bit of history, at least from my standpoint. When I first was elected a Bay City Commissioner back in the year 2000, things were pretty contentious, wouldn't you say, Tom? Between the city of Bay City and the folks who were the major users, of the water at that time. And as a matter of fact, I think we were just coming off a court decision because of some rate-making decisions that were made by a previous city manager. And during my whole time, I really advocated for the system that was put in place because, in my mind, the folks that use the water should be the ones that govern the system rather than the minor users of the water, which was the city of Bay City. So fast forward, there were some very difficult decisions that were made, and quite honestly, I think there was a time when I didn't think it would be able to get put together. There was some debt that had to be dealt with. There were some egos that had to be dealt with. But in the end, quite honestly, I think this is a great day because I think you'll agree with me, this is the way government should work, should it not? People coming together to make the best decision for their community. And so I'd like everybody here to give yourselves a round of applause because you all played a role in the operation and what's happening behind us, which is, certainly a great water source and state-of-the-art filtration. I mean, you hear people across the country. By the way, go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause. I didn't. Politician, I just keep talking, So in the end, this is the way it should work. People sitting down, rolling up their sleeves, saying, okay, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? And wow, I will only mention this once, and maybe it might get mentioned by other folks, but 50 miles to the south of us, what a problem they have down in that community, and it's very, very unfortunate. We are so fortunate that we have people that are forward-thinking, that got ahead of the curve, that chose a new water source, and thank goodness for Saginaw Midland Water Supply, everybody that sat down to put this together. This is a great, great day for our community, and I really look forward. And by the way, I understand the water that's in the bottles back there came from the plant, correct, Tom? So
bottled right here at the plant.
Yeah. So and a lot of the bottled water, I found this out, that you buy in the store is not processed. It's taken right from the spring. So this is actually processed water that is extremely safe. So thank you, Tom. Good luck, everybody, and it's just truly a great day. So thank you for the opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, the bottled water here has been bottled. It's water from this plant. And if you don't have a bottle yet, there's a refrigerator inside. And after the tour, before the tour, feel free to help yourself to the water. It's got a sticker on it with a couple of dates. We thought it'd be a good memento, but it looks like it's sweating out here pretty good today. So let's move it along. I want to mention before the next speaker here, Ernie Krieger represents the County Commission, and again, the County Commission pledged their full faith and credit to finance this plant. And the Commission couldn't have been more helpful in this process and moving it along and helping with this. The support from the Commission was tremendous. And along with that, Bob Redman, the financial analyst for the county, was key in this and the financing and moving this along. So I want to recognize Bob Redman as being very helpful with this procedure and with the County Commission and being the go-between there. I don't see Bob here at the moment, but Bob was very key in this whole process. And with that, we'd like a few words of wisdom from the board chair, Ernie Krieger. Thank you.
Thank you. I would say this has been a long time coming. Early on in my days with the commission, one of the biggest complaints I had from residents was the quality of the water. People were out buying filters and then bringing them in, and it looked just like a piece of brown cardboard because of the quality that we had. Unfortunately, our water came from the end of the pipe, which is at the end of the Saginaw River. So in order for us to have water that met standards, we had, of course, to chemically treat it. That's not the case any longer. And the same people that complained about water quality have really made a point of getting in contact and letting me know that they are very pleased with what's happened to our water and what we've been able to achieve. You know, this goes back 50-some years in trying to get an association together to be able to get the water. The county commissioners were very proud to be part of this and making sure that the funding was there. And yeah, Bob Bredman was a big part of making sure that all the numbers jived. And all of this wouldn't have happened if we didn't have a great director, a person who took the time to call to make sure all the questions were answered. And so I know that I'd be remiss not to say this, but Tom, this is your baby and you've done a wonderful job with it. So a round of applause. I had a team effort, that's right. I had a lot of things to say, but unfortunately, Charlie must have looked at my notes and took all of the points of reference away from me. And that's fine because everybody's sitting in the sun. So on behalf of the county commission, again, we're very proud to be part of this organization. So thank you. Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you, Ernie. Appreciate the remarks. Next, of course, the county was very supportive, and Tom Hickner, the county executive, very supportive of this project and bringing the group together. And you know, once in a while, you need some support from someplace when things are maybe going a little south, like Charlie says. But it's great to have people in the community that offer that support, and Tom's one of those. So, Tom.
Well, thank you very much, Tom, and I want to welcome everybody for this event. Everything's been said by the previous speakers. This is the most important accomplishment of this community in public infrastructure in our lifetime, not only my lifetime, but Ed Rivett's lifetime. And it is a tribute to the Road Commission, Tom Page, the townships, the city, and everybody involved in this, that it actually got done. And I just want to congratulate everybody for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We also had tremendous support for this project from our regulators, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. Our local staff here couldn't have been more helpful as we went through this, because they were the ones that were trying to assist as with the old water source. We're trying to do a great job with that, and the folks at the Bay City plant did do a great job with that on making that drinking water quality to put out in the community. But our raw water source lets us do a lot better here now. So from Lansing, we have a couple of people here I just want to recognize. Eric Pocan was our project manager for the project. Eric's over here. And Wendy Fitzner is here from Lansing. She's with the Drinking Water Revolving Fund Division, where a lot of our funding came from. Thank you, Wendy. Our local agents here, Bob London and Jan Blomker, couldn't have been any more helpful. And I know Jan wanted to be here today, but a previous commitment keeps him from joining with us today. But it's probably killing Jan that he can't be here today. But so in his stead, and just as importantly, we have Bob London, district engineer from the Saginaw Bay office, and we'd like to have you make a few comments, Bob.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here for the grand opening. You know, communities are facing more and more drinking water quality challenges almost daily. More regulations are coming along, and the existing regulations are getting more stringent. Now, this area was served by the Bay Metropolitan Water Plant for many years, and as it became more challenging for them to meet all the various drinking water standards, some decisions had to be made about either making some major upgrades to the Metropolitan Plant
or replacing it. Several studies were undertaken to decide how to best provide the highest quality of drinking water at an affordable price, and the end result was this water treatment plant behind me. Now, cooperation is really important in major projects like this. This treatment plant was a cooperative effort among all of you member communities. Agreements needed to be in place for funding, design, and construction. Activities needed to be coordinated with the Saginaw Midland Corporation, which provides the raw water from their pipeline. And there were many deadlines to be met along the way. I can remember several times when we were on the phone with Tom Page as a deadline approached, and he'd say, "We're working on it." And then not too long afterward, I'd get an email from him saying, "We got it." But I got the feeling from him that it wasn't always easy. At this time, I'd also like to recognize Wendy Fitzner and Eric Pocan from our Drinking Water Revolving Fund program in Lansing. The Revolving Fund is a low-interest loan program for water and sewer infrastructure improvements, and it helped finance this plant. This project had a pretty aggressive schedule for design, approval, and construction in order to take advantage of those loans, and the Revolving Fund staff worked really hard to guide the county through the application and funding process and making sure that no critical deadlines were missed. I heard several speakers say that this is a state-of-the-art facility, and I'm going to say so too. It uses state-of-the-art membrane technology. It includes green design features for energy efficiency. Membrane technology also allows a reduction in the number of treatment chemicals needed and the amount of wastewater generated through the treatment process. The treatment building has a pretty small footprint compared to many other types of treatment systems around the state. Plus, the water coming out here is pretty tasty in my opinion. I'm looking forward to you guys competing at American Waterworks Association's Water Taste Off, and I want to see you bring home the trophy. I want to see how you stack up against the rest of the best from the state. So congratulations on your new water plant, and thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Bob. That's kind of the beauty of this plant, really. On the primary process, there is no chemical treatment. Saginaw Midland puts a little chlorine in the water when they bring it in from the lake. We put it through the filters here, the membranes, which are essentially filters. We add a little chlorine, so we have a residual out in the system, and the fluoride and the corrosion control inhibitor, and we put it out in the system. There are some chemicals that are used in the recycling of the water from the backwash of the membranes, and that's reprocessed, and Mark Scott and his crew have this plant purring so good that we're wasting less than 0.5% of the water that comes into this building right now. So they're doing a tremendous job with that. All right, and final speaker today, I know it's got to be getting hot. Tom Ford is the chairman of the advisory committee. That's the 14 partner communities that are members of this, that basically signed on to the agreement, and they're owners of this plant. So we'd like to have a few comments from Tom. Tom.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Tom. I'm not much of a speech writer or a speaker, but he made me do this. So, but anyway, 2.5 minutes. I know it's warm out there. We'll get through this. It is a great day for Bay County. As chairman of the advisory committee, it's been a privilege and honor working with such a dedicated group of people. Nearly a decade ago, discussions were started up about the possibility of a water treatment plant being built and owned by the residents of Bay County. The idea got serious a few years later. On October 3rd, 2013, we broke ground. On August 31st, 2015, at 10:27 a.m., we produced our first glass of water. 11 townships, City of Bay City, City of Essexville, Bay County Road Commission, Department of Water and Sewer, 14 entities getting together, working together, and making this possible. Trust me when I tell you, this wasn't an easy task, and as Tom knows, we've had a few bumps in the road. We got through those bumps. We proceeded ahead, and by compromising and doing what we could. We still have a few loose ends to tighten up here. It should be hopefully done pretty soon. And it is unbelievable what this county has has done. Consolidating into one community effort to create a state-of-the-art microfiltration plant. Life expectancy 40 years and beyond. I've also been told by crew members of this plant that our water here is at a higher quality than bottled water that you get at the store. So back of my mind, I'm thinking, why not let's bottle it and make some money off this baby, you know? But I don't know, Bob. I don't know if that's going to go. But in finishing up, one more thing here. I have all the confidence in the world that the people that we've hired, Mark Moores, Ryan Goebel, and the rest of the staff here, will distribute and bring water to all Bay County residents from now on for the next 40 to 50 years. Thank you, Tom.
Okay. On the program, it lists the employees that work at this plant, and you notice there's 11 employees listed. So this facility operates 24/7 with a staff of 11. That was one of the beauties about a plant of this type too. A lot of automation in it, but that's kind of our operating model that we use with the Department of Water and Sewer, and Mark and his crew make that happen. So on the program, those 11 employees are listed, and there's one more. I introduced Mark earlier. The first employee hired here for this plant is the operations supervisor, Ryan Goebel. He's in the back. He came to us from the Bay City plant, a very sharp young man, and he's going to be at this plant making it purr for a long time. And we're happy to have Ryan on board here. If he looks a little under the weather, that's because he's a new dad here recently, so he doesn't sleep at night now. So, as the speakers mentioned, it's all of this. It's all of you. It's the townships, it's the cities, the cooperation that has brought this together today. And I agree. You need to give yourselves a round of applause. As we wrap the program up, we invite you inside for a tour of the facility. Mark and Ryan are going to arrange the tours, and also to grab that bottle of water before you leave or at some point. But I would caution that this is an operational water plant. We have your safety and the operation of the plant in mind, and we don't need any sudden shutdowns or anything like that. So we would ask that you kind of follow the directions of the tour guides and such, and stay in the areas as designated. We do have some chemicals in here also in that we do use, like for the corrosion control and the chlorine, and for chemical backwashes of the membranes. So I just ask you to stay in the designated areas. So to wrap this up, we'd like to snap a picture with a representative of each of the 14 advisory committee members, plus our financing partner. So we have something to put on the wall for a while. We have some bare walls. We need to get some pictures on them. So as I call each partner's name, please step forward. I think Jennifer's got a bottle of water we're going to grab for everybody to hold, and we're going to get a picture taken to commemorate this great day, and then that'll be the end of the program, and we'll do tours. So we'd like the people to step forward, and we'll move the podium and take the picture here in front of the emblem. So the members are Bangor Charter Township. I see Dennis here. The City of Bay City. Got Mayor Kathleen Newsham. The Bay County Road Commission, Department of Water and Sewer. Need a representative. Beaver Township. Looks like we're missing Beaver. City Essexville. Dan Hansford, City Manager. Frankenmuth Township. I saw Ron back here. Very good. Ron Campbell, the Supervisor. Fraser Township. George Augustiniak's a trustee that was supervisor at the time this project started, very involved in this. Fraser Township. Fraser, I called him. That's enough. Hampton Charter Township. Tom Forrest. Calcollan Township. Supervisor Dennis Bregel. Merritt Township. Supervisor Dave Schabel. Monitor Charter Township. Supervisor Gary Brandt. City of Pinconning. Mayor Robert Hall. Portsmouth Township. We got Judy. Great, good. Got the most important person in the township, right? The clerk. And Williams Charter Township. Paul Wassick, Supervisor. And then the Bay County Board of Commissioners, Ernie. And with that. Okay, we got one more. All right. And with that, that's the end of the program. Please come inside where it's air conditioned in the office, and we'll break up for some chorus.
Hello, my name is Ryan Goebel. I am the operations supervisor here at the Bay Area Water Treatment Plant. Our plant started up on August 31st. We took over the drinking water treatment from the city of Bay City. They closed their plant when we started ours up. We are a 17.4 million gallon a day capacity plant. It's a membrane filtration plant, which is a change from a conventional treatment plant. And we've been running a year now, and it's been going pretty good. So our new Bay Area Water Treatment Plant gets their raw water, their untreated water, from the Saginaw Midland Raw Water Authority. That's the same raw water pipeline that the city of Saginaw and the city of Midland use for their water plants. The old plant used to get their water from the Saginaw Bay. It was dirtier water, so by starting out with a cleaner, fresher water, it makes treatment easier. The water is pumped down the pipeline from Au Gres to our plant here, and it goes into this 10 million gallon raw water tank. This tank had been used by the old plant for their finished water storage. Now it's used for our raw water. That water is then brought over to our pumps and pushed through our membranes. This right here is one of our 4 raw water pumps from that 10 million gallon plant. The water comes through this raw pump. It goes over to this green can looking thing. That's actually a micro strainer that strains out any large debris that might be still in the raw water. And then that water goes up through this green line and into our membranes. So the water treatment that we do here, it's basically a physical treatment. Raw water comes in, it goes through that strainer, gets pumped through the membrane strands. It goes through the sides of the membranes and out at the bottom of like a straw, a porous straw. The pores are incredibly tiny. It blocks out a lot of the particles in the water, including Cryptosporidium and Giardia. They can't even get through the membrane pores. When these pores in the membranes get plugged up, and that happens about every hour or so, we backwash these membranes, and we do that by forcing water and air through the inside of the membranes out, and it pushes all that debris out. That backwash water actually goes to a basin, we treat it, and we actually send it right back through the membranes to eliminate waste. If a conventional plant is run properly, if it's got good water to start with, it can do a great job. But the beauty of our plant is that either clean water is getting through the membranes or it's not. Sand filters that a lot of conventional plants use, if the treatment is off, particles can actually get through the bottom of the sand and push into the tap. Our water can't. If it plugs the pores, the membrane shuts down until it gets washed. So we're pretty confident that the water that's leaving these membranes is really clean. At our plant, we add phosphoric acid as a corrosion inhibitor. Right here we've got our loop testing. Each one of these plugs that you can see has either a copper or a lead coupon. These coupons were weighed before we started running water through them. And then we're going to run water through for at least a month. We're going to weigh them again and see how much lead and copper was stripped out of those coupons. We're doing this with our water that doesn't have corrosion inhibitor and our water that does have corrosion inhibitor. All the science says that we're using the right chemical. We've done a bunch of studies before, but this is just a way to make sure that we're actually dosing the right amount. Water that's been filtered, that's gone through the membranes, we call treated water, goes through the blue lines. We add fluoride for dental protection. We add our corrosion control, and we add sodium hypochlorite, liquid chlorine to disinfect the water. That water with the chemical goes out to our finished water tanks out back that we pump out of and use to pump water into the system. Finished water from the membranes go through some underground piping and go into one of our 2 finished water tanks. They can each hold about 1.3 million gallons. We can operate them as one floating system or separate. In the future, if we ever want to take one down to clean it, we can do that and just run off one tank. The water is then pumped from these tanks back into the plant where it's pushed out into the system. This is one of our 3 finished water pumps. Water comes back from the finished water storage tanks into these pumps. Our operators adjust how much we want to pump. This water is pumping directly out into the distribution system. Operators watch the levels of the towers, they see what the demand is, and they pump what the system needs at that moment. All of the backwash water in our plant, the water that we use to clean our membranes, goes in a basin outside, and then it comes back and we recycle the water. This is our clarification system, our clarifiers. The water comes in, we use an alum chemical that acts like a magnet. It attracts the particles in the water, settles it out. Those settled particles we call sludge. That gets pumped to the lagoons that the old Bay City water plant used to use. They had their own lagoons that they sent their wastewater to from the drinking water plant. So the sludge gets sent there, we're reusing that. The clarified water comes out clean after we treated it, goes through these white tanks, and we actually send it right back and mix it with the raw water, send it right back through the membranes, and we recycle the water. This is our analyzer board. We've got turbidimeters, chlorine analyzers, and pH electrodes and temperature electrodes on this board. We're testing different points of the plant, raw water, water that's going into the membranes, water that's leaving the membranes. All this info gets transferred over to the SCADA system so the operator, when operating, can actually see what the chemical levels, the pH levels, the temperature is at the different points of the process. A lot of the Bay Area Water Treatment Plant can be controlled through our SCADA system. The SCADA is a computer. You're looking at a screen that the operators use. We can turn on or off pumps, we can adjust our flow, adjust our chemical feed, mostly right from the computer. This screen right here is set up to show all the water towers through the distribution system. So we can look at that, we can see how much water's in the tower. If there's a problem going on out there and we got one of the towers dropping faster than the others, we can pinpoint where that area might be. This is our laboratory. In our lab, we run a bunch of tests. One of the more important ones that we do is we test for coliform bacteria. We're not only testing the water as it's leaving this plant, but the distribution crews go out and they collect water samples all through our water system, and they bring that in. We want to make sure that the water isn't getting contaminated after it leaves our plant. So almost every day of the week, we've got guys coming in with samples, and we analyze them for bacteria, for coliform bacteria and E. coli. Yeah. Other tests we do, we're monitoring our chemical feed system. So we come in the lab and we check our chlorine, make sure it's feeding what we want it to feed. We keep an eye on our fluoride, make sure the fluoride and the corrosion inhibitor are feeding what we want them to feed. And then we can run calcium, hardness, iron, sulfates, a bunch of other water quality parameter testing that's required by the DEQ.